Good afternoon and welcome to this Tuesday, October 27th edition of Westman Newsline. I'm Brent Harder alongside Charles Tweed and Chris Tataryn. In today's news, a local manufacturer is feeling the effects of work shortages in Manitoba. And Charles, I understand that my Toronto Maple Leafs picked up their first win of the season last night.
That's right, Brent. I think a lot of Maple Leaf fans, including yourself, are taking a collective sigh of relief today after Toronto finally got in the win column last night. I'll have that story and more later on in sports.
Thanks, Charles. And Chris, the rainy weather this morning wasn't exactly what I was expecting when I went outside. Can we expect more on the way this week?
Well, Brent, the rain this morning is the last we should see for a few days, but it looks like we might have some snow on the way later on in the week. Currently in the city, it's 5 degrees, and I'll have all your weather details coming up later in the show.
Thanks, Chris. While the Canadian dollar might be good for purchasing from the U.S., it isn't helping local steel manufacturer Baylin Industries. In total, 66 employees were given layoff notices, including 5 who work at the Burlington, Ontario office. Senior Vice President Larry Arnold says it's the worst business has been in 20 years due to a work shortage, which is a direct impact of the high loonie. Although 35 employees are usually given a pink slip during the winter months, this year layoffs are more widespread. Arnold doesn't expect the workload to spike anytime soon and has applied for a work-share agreement with employment insurance. That means when work does appear, the rehired employees will receive EI on top of their paychecks if they aren't hired back full-time. The alleged mistreatment of 4 foreign employees at a local fast food restaurant has caused some citizens of Brandon to speak out. Westman Newsline's Travis Burke has more on this story.
It happened on the corner of Park and 18th in the Wendy's parking lot. A peaceful protest against the treatment of 4 Filipino immigrants.
We're picketing to draw attention to the fact that the foreign worker program federally has to have some teeth in it. Wendy's had some foreign workers. It didn't work out for them. They badly treated those foreign workers who are now working in Thompson.
According to the protesters, the workers paid $3,000 for work permits in Canada where they were employed at a Wendy's in Regina. After only being there a few short months, they were told there was no more work for them and sent to the Brandon location, breaking the work permit.
This is totally unacceptable. We will not tolerate it. And this goes on, and I've seen cases of this elsewhere. I've been a victim of employer abuse from employers myself. So I feel a strong urge to show solidarity here with those, an injury or harassment to one is an injury or harassment to all.
The owner of Wendy's had no comment for tape. He only stated that the protesters are within their legal rights to protest.
Where you spend your money does determine world policy, believe it or not. And, that is very important. After all, if we choose to shop elsewhere, like unionized shops or non-unionized shops, it doesn't matter. As long as the employer is treating their people fair, a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. And respect is a two-way street.
At Wendy's in Brandon, for Westman Newsline, I'm Travis Burke.
With the threatening shutdown of Greyhound services in Manitoba, provincial government leaders have formed a committee of deputy ministers to examine all the issues about bus travel. Manitoba Transport Minister Ron Lemieux hopes to meet with Greyhound officials in the coming days to discuss the company's plan to permanently park the buses. That may be cutting things a little close, however, as Greyhound delivered an ultimatum in September to the provincial government that if it did not receive subsidies for the less profitable routes, it would shut them down. Currently, no tickets for bus trips are being sold for after October 31st. Lemieux said as of Thursday evening he was unaware of definite deadlines set by the company. However, it has been confirmed by Greyhound officials that they are no longer selling tickets for November 1st and beyond. That leads us to our question of the day. What impact do you think the lack of bus service will have on Manitobans?
I think it'll be unfortunate for people who take the bus to come here and visit family at Christmas.
I think it'll make it very difficult for people to travel within Manitoba.
I've been one who's used Greyhound a lot over the years. I don't own a car, so I'm not looking forward to that.
I think it'll affect a lot of the Manitobans traveling in and outside of the province, as well in rural communities.
Traveling back and forth from Winnipeg and Brandon is going to be more difficult.
In rural communities, some people, that's the only way to get out of them.
I just think it's very odd that we're losing a form of transportation and we don't have any other form.
Well, the Greyhound woes have many people contemplating what's happening on the ground. Students at Brandon University have been looking toward the stars. There's a new research tool for the students in the astronomy program. Newsline was there to scope it out.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
Astronomy students at Brandon University have an opportunity to get closer to planets and stars thanks to a new device that is out of this world. BU officially unveiled its new telescope to the public last Wednesday. The Brandon University Astronomical Observatory allows students to get a closer and in-depth look at what is going on in our solar system. The fact that the new telescope is such an upgrade on the old device has students in the astronomy program very excited.
It means I can get hands-on experience using a telescope, a professional grade telescope by all means, and it's really neat to be able to just click and take a picture and not have to peer through anything.
Learners aren't the only ones excited about the new instrument. Administration and faculty are hoping the telescope will re-energize people about astronomy. Tyler Foster, assistant professor of astronomy at BU, says it was imperative the institution get the telescope in order to gain the interest of Westman.
We want to reach out to our students and the public, Brandon, and the community. We needed a new instrument to do that with.
Those who are interested in seeing the new astronomical observatory will have an opportunity tonight, beginning at 6:30. The telescope will also be open to the public 2 Tuesdays of every month. More information on these dates is available at the BU website, www.brandonu.ca. Despite some troubling economic news, the number of people receiving regular employment insurance benefits in August fell by 2.4%, or 19,100 from July, the second straight monthly decline. Stats Canada reports the number fell in nearly all provinces, with the most notable percentage declines in Newfoundland and Labrador, Ontario, Saskatchewan, and right here in Manitoba. And with that, let's take a look at where today's money markets are currently sitting.
For all your local news, weather, and sports coverage, watch Westman Newsline. Broadcasting from Assiniboine Community College on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 1 o'clock.
Long lines and waits up to an hour greeted people at clinics in Winnipeg offering the swine flu vaccination. The rush of people the first day caught health workers by surprise. Some nurses not scheduled for the opening shift were called in at the last minute. The Winnipeg Regional Health Authority also put out the call for more volunteers in the coming days to help with greeting the public, assisting the registration and consent forms, and observing the post-immunization wait. A Canadian Taxpayers Federation report has come out against the provincial government plan to build an electrical transmission line on the west side of Lake Winnipeg. The report says, as well as being at least $1 billion more expensive than an east side route, the west route is more damaging to the environment. The report also says a route on the lake's east side wouldn't hurt Manitoba's chances of the forested area being declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Manitoba Hydro is planning a series of open houses to collect feedback on 3 proposed routes on Manitoba's west side. And we have more quandaries to tell you about. Water Stewardship Minister Christine Stewart said an international scientific review should be done on North Dakota's latest plan for the Devil's Lake outlet. Stewart is concerned the state wants to relax sulfate standards for the outlet and double the amount of water pumped out of the lake. Manitoba claims increasing the amount of water flowing would mean water quality tests at the border will show increased amounts of salt and sulfate, which in high quantities can hurt aquatic life. Melnick wrote to Federal Environment Minister Jim Prentice in July asking him to call on the International Joint Commission, a joint U.S.-Canada body assigned to conduct environmental reviews and solve cross-border water disputes. And moving overseas now, Al-Qaeda's umbrella group in Iraq has claimed responsibility for twin suicide bombings in Baghdad that killed at least 155 people this week. The militant group is believed to be dominated by Sunni extremists known as the Islamic State of Iraq. It says in a statement posted on the internet that its martyrs targeted the dens of infidelity. And that's all for news, but stay tuned. Chris is up next with Newsline Weather.